What's up world, it's Brad Bennett with MobileSyrup and I'm back in Canada today and I'm actually going on a rural Ontario road trip with the Porsche Taycan Cross Turismo back there. I'm taking you to visit my parents for the weekend, which means I've got to take it 400 kilometers today and there's only 417 on the range. So I'm thinking if I want to do this right, I'm going to need to find a fast charger halfway through. So stick along and let's see what we can figure out. Okay, so from where we grabbed the car in Mississauga, Ontario to the first fast charger is 135 kilometers, which is about 83 miles. Just before we get to the first charger, I want to throw in some context as to where I am in the world. Obviously, I'm located in Canada and MobileSyrup is located in Toronto. So I'm driving from basically Toronto to Ottawa, which is the capital of Ontario, to the capital of Canada. It's about 400 kilometers. But I'm not actually going to Ottawa specifically. My parents live in a smaller town called Renfrew of about 8,000 or so people outside of Ottawa, and really the test of this trip is to see how well an EV is navigating up north to a small town. Not a big city like Ottawa, but a small town. Anyway, let's get back and see how getting to that charger is. The traffic wasn't super great on the way there, and it was a lot of stop and go. We arrived at the 350 kilowatt fast charger in Cobourg, Ontario with only 234 kilometers left on our range, which is about 145 miles, meaning we'd burned through an almost extra 50 kilometers or 31 miles worth of battery, which is a lot more than anticipated. Oh, and one of the chargers at the station didn't work, but luckily the other stall cleared up quickly and we were able to begin charging. While I'd like to say that this is an uncommon fast charger experience, it's not the first time it's happened to me across a wide variety of charger brands. Luckily for us, there was a sub shop nearby, so we were able to get some dinner, and by the time we were done, which was 36 minutes later, the car was topped up from 61% to 99%. Not the fastest charge in the world, but it worked well for our timeline, so I'm not complaining. From the chargers in Cobourg to my parents' house we were going to, which was in Renfrew, was another 265 kilometers. It's about 164 miles. So we hit the road with a full charge and arrived at home with only 23 kilometers left at around 8 p.m. that night. That's about 14 miles, but either way, it doesn't matter what measurement, it's not a lot. Alright guys, it's day 2 and, well, things have not been going according to plan. Maybe a more interesting story though. So, first off, we lost the camera, the suction cup fell off, I think somebody ran it over, our action camera is toast, so a moment of silence for that. Okay, and then basically what's been going on today? So, we couldn't charge. We got to my parents' house and we only had 20 kilometers left on the car. That's not very much. We need a lot more than that to get home. We need at least 200 kilometers to get to the nearest fast charger. So we went to plug it in with a 240 volt adapter that Porsche sent us in the back of this car, and it wouldn't work. The dryer plug, that's also 240 volt, uses a slightly different head in my parents' house for some reason. I'm not sure why, I'm hoping to figure that out later. Either way, we couldn't charge, so we had to take it to the local grocery store, and it was a super slow charge. We put it on at 9 p.m., picked it up at 9 a.m., and we only gained 200 kilometers of range, which is enough to let us do a little bit of driving today, and would be enough to let us get home barely, because we could get to the fast charger. However, all that said, I think I found out a way to get us a full charge tonight. It just might mean that we won't be able to do much cooking. After some research at home, I learned there are multiple types of 240 volt outlets. Lucky me. They vary based on the amount of amperage the device needs and some other factors. Since we had a Porsche mobile charger, we could convert any 240 volt current into a compatible charge for the car, but we only had the NEMA 1450 adapter for it, limiting us to basically just stove plugs or anyone that had a 1450 in their garage, probably for an EV, which in Renfrew was no one. Luckily though, after all this prep, I talked to my aunt after I was showing them the car, and she told me that she had seen a new charger at the Canadian Tire. And that changed the game. Day 3 once again started at a charger, but this time it was with a slightly faster 50 kilowatt speed, which means we could top up the Taycan Cross Turismo in about 2.5 hours from zero. However, I think the colder temperature, well, since the temperature was much colder, I was limiting our top range closer to 327 kilometers, about 203 miles, instead of the 417 kilometers or 259 miles that we had started the trip with on a much warmer day. Anyway, here we are. We're at the charger. We are charging. We're at 29%. We've gone about 30 kilometers up since I've been sitting here for about 20 minutes. We're at 90 kilometers total now. So we're charging at 2.6 kilometers per minute. That's the peak rate though. Hopefully it reaches that sooner rather than later. But yeah, who knows? After that, we did some driving around and tested out the Porsche a little bit, took some photos, and just ran down the battery to prepare for our final drive in the review. Overall though, this was a pretty good afternoon, and the Porsche is, super fun. One of the first things we tested was a notoriously slippery hill and the bumpy gravel roads leading up to my grandpa's house. And actually, kind of surprisingly, with all the snow we were having, the car handled it expertly with its gravel mode and great all-wheel drive handling. I don't know if it was the extra weight of the batteries or what, but I climbed up and down that hill both ways, no problems. Even later on in the day, driving in deeper, slushier snow, the Taycan Cross Turismo handled fine there too. It felt a bit weird to have a car that was this expensive out in such dire conditions, to be honest, but in pretty much all aspects, it lived up to my experiences with the original Taycan, which is to say, fantastic. You can watch that video, of course, by clicking the link in the corner if you want to see a deeper dive into the original Taycan, which I will say is pretty similar to this one. Anyway, see you tomorrow for the drive home. All right, it's 5 a.m. I've got 250 kilometers to the nearest fast charger in Napanee, 317 kilometers of range on the car, which is here. You just can't see it in the pitch black, so wish me luck and maybe see you in an hour or two at the charger. All right, just check the map. We need 239 kilometers. We actually have 121. Probably want 300 to be safe, to be honest. That's just what I would rather. So probably once we hit that, we'll go, I guess. We should be back on time, I'm thinking, pending no stoppages with the chargers. But I think this is charging faster than the estimated rate on the car, which is something that's been happening all weekend. All right, check back in when we get to Mississauga. Checking back in literally like maybe 2 minutes after I recorded the video earlier. It dropped down to 9:39, so I think we're super fine to charge. I guess it just took a while to get up to the peak charging rate. Checking back in from the editor's desk, I forgot to mention we got up at 5 a.m. because we had to bring the car back to Mississauga at 11, and it's about a 5-hour drive with charging, and I just wanted to be a bit preemptive in case anything went wrong. Speaking of things going wrong, nothing went super wrong, but this charger, unlike the first Petro Canada charger, charged us money to use it. And after an hour, 15 minutes of use, it cut us off. Since there was no line, we could have just hopped back in and started using it again to top back up, but we were at 89%, 290 some kilometers, and I figured we were okay. I guess I should also mention that the flow chargers in town, the fast chargers, did charge us at about $33 a fill up, and the really slow charger at the grocery store was free. But in my experience, most fast chargers charge you. Back to the video. So now that we've left Napanee with just about 300 kilometers of range, it means we should be getting to Toronto with 60 kilometers left on the range. That didn't happen. Still, on the bright side, I did see a Hyundai Ioniq 5 on the drive here, and that's the first one I've seen in Canada, so that's pretty exciting. Check out my full video for more impressions on that. All right, so we made it back to the Porsche drop-off spot, and we have 19 kilometers on the range. We barely made it. I mean, we had enough time to sit for another 30 minutes at the charger when we left, but I mean, we're supposed to have more than 50 kilometers worth of extra range to get here, and we could have pulled over to another charger, but I thought it was just more important to get here. Either way, we made it, and yeah, I guess I'll leave you with my final impression. So basically, one fast charger makes a huge difference. Once we found the fast charger in Renfrew, even though it was only 30 kilowatts, it's still, that 2 hours, 2.5 hours to charge up the car, like, it changed the game. So having a single charger that you could use, be it, a fast charger, that's the best case scenario. But then if not, 110 or slow chargers, They're not gonna get you very far unless you plan to really not use the car while you're on your weekend trip in this case, or, you know, the 12 volts are tricky because there's so many different 12 volt outlets, and then finding one near where you park, even more difficult in some cases. So yeah, I don't know. It was doable, we did it, but the fast charger, that's all it takes. It was just one fast charger in that town to make it a doable trip, you know? We had to wake up super early this morning so we could charge on the way here, and the drive to and from my parents' house took about an extra hour each time because of charging. But yeah, I don't know. Every sort of obstacle we hit, we were able to overcome it. We were able to find somewhere to plug in and find somewhere to charge, slow charges, fast chargers. You know, Renfrew's a bit of a hub city, so there's a bit of thorough traffic coming from, you know, further up north and in Quebec, coming into Ontario and stuff. So I guess it does make sense for a fast charger to be there, and there won't be one in every small town. But yeah, look it up, check up, you know, local message boards, every app, the inbuilt car charger finder, Google Maps, Apple Maps, everything. It doesn't appear that any map has every charger on it yet, as far as I can tell, so you still need to do a little digging. Anyway, okay, let's just butt in here one last time. Basically, I just want to say that this went well for me because I didn't buy this car, I had it on loan, so my ability to test things and push them to their limits was a bit more within my reach than, say, the average person who might not want to go to a place where they might get stranded because that's their car or they don't want to get stranded in it. But, you know, other than that, I think the only other thing I should mention is that when I was sitting at all these chargers, luckily for me, I'm in a small town, so my parents don't live that far away. Someone can come pick me up and take me home, which is not great considering I want this car to be a green car and someone has to drive 4 times to come pick me up. They need to follow me out there, drive me home, drive me back, and then follow me home, which is not a great situation by any means, not green at all, but it's what we had to do. I mean, that's the reality, I guess, of using an electric vehicle on a road trip like this. And I'm not saying in any way that this represents all road trips. I think the further you go north, the further you get off the main highways in Canada, the 401, you're gonna have a tougher time finding chargers. But, you know, if you stay close to that line, I think you might be okay. And traveling along that line, super easy. I mean, there are fast chargers all the way down it pretty much. So I didn't have any problems there, but the further you go north, the more research, the more planning, and the more preparedness you're gonna have, I guess. Anyway, I'm Brad Bennett with MobileSyrup. You can follow me anywhere at the Brad Fad and reach out online anytime. And follow at MobileSyrup too for all kinds of other crazy tech news and just regular tech news, more tech news, Canadian news, every kind of tech news. Anyway, see you guys in the next one.